I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of content out there today that Liverpool and Arsenal have bottled the league, bottling leads, bottling the game, etc., etc. I don't know if I subscribe to that narrative. I can understand why people want to use it. It's a bit sensational. It looks good. Yeah, you're bottlers. Obviously, with what happened last season with Arsenal, what happened a few years before that with Liverpool as well, having been against City twice, losing by a point twice as well. You know, you can say, yeah, it's a bottle, but you're going up against this Man City machine, which are just that damn good. And even as poor as they may be, by their own accounts, by what people are saying, by their results and how they've conducted their business, they're still the pinnacle in English football. Going for a four-peat, going for a back-to-back treble. That's actually mad. But I want to give you my thoughts and opinions as to why this isn't exactly a bottle, but why I can understand if people want to use that as a narrative or as a reason or an excuse as to why, or as a label to them not winning it, yeah? Anyways, prepared a little document, as I do for most of my videos. You see me across the screen, that's me reading notes. But this is straight out, going to read it word for word or thereabouts. So while we, being Liverpool, lost to Palace, first at home in the league this season, and Arsenal lost at home to Villa, we're both still in the title race, albeit mathematically, so it's not over, but many have conceded because it's Manchester City in the lead. What are the chances that City lose a game or draw a few and we win our remaining games respectively? Possible, but unlikely. So then, have we both bottled it? When City had a rough patch in December/January, neither Liverpool or Arsenal took advantage to gain some serious points between us, and now we're both paying for it by not winning our matches to reclaim first or second from City, who now sit outright first by 2 points and look as though they are not dropping any points themselves. City fans said this was a huge mistake from both teams, and City would pull a Schwarzenegger and be back. Now, first of all, let's get this out of the way. The game at White Hart Lane already jeopardized our potential standing with that piss-poor good process officiating. Everything changes with that Diaz goal being rightfully offside, and I maintain that there should be an investigation into the postseason over that shit we've had to go through with multiple decisions wrongfully given against us many times over, and people are forgetting this key aspect of our season. Now, just to note, that's not a reason why we lost, but you have to consider these factors. Again, if we scored all our chances and won all the games we should have been winning, by all probabilities, by all play and how everything happened, we will not be having this conversation. But it is what it is. In January, I had belief, I had hope, I had expectations that we'd be in with a short challenge for this league and that we'd be in it all the way until the very end. And for me, the end was last night's 1-0 loss to Palace, and the team's reaction to it all was clear to see. Now, I have to add a caveat in here that's not written down here, but I did say, I am on record saying multiple times over and over again, I believe Man City will win the league. I still think City can get it done because it's Man City we're talking about here, yeah? As good as the story is and as good as the fairy tale and all that crap, and I was never in that do it for Klopp business, but the way things were progressing, it looked like there was potentially something there. Ultimately, we know that there isn't. Also, the late goals coming from behind from a goal down to continuously win. I had a mad rant about it when we beat Palace 2-1 away. I said we can't keep doing this. It's great we got the win, but this is not sustainable. We need to be winning games within the 90 minutes because eventually this thing stops. And we've seen over the last couple of weeks, it definitely has stopped. So much optimism to be crushed by our inability to score goals, defend, not concede goals, players not up to it, looking like they're mentally fatigued, physically drained, and devoid of all determination and inspiration. I tried to defend Darwin when he was scoring goals or getting assists as a forward, but missing 30-plus chances is a fucking laugh. Diaz needed to do more, but all things considered, with his personal life, we give him leeway. Szoboszlai wasn't at the races for the second half of the season. Key players out for months that didn't help us, but when the kids were at play and won the Carabao, it was a celebration of Klopp and the football. Yet now we can't get a win, even with the players that we have coming in off the bench or from the academy, if they're even selected. And to this, I have to add the likes of Cody Gakpo, Mo Salah as well, Diogo Jota, obviously being one of the injured ones. But Salah, not the same since he come back from the Asian Cup. Gakpo being used as a scapegoat, which I think is a little bit unfair. Youngsters playing, Jota injured. A lot of things just didn't fall in our favour, which sucks. People said I was negative and needed to back the players. I did. I was. I expected more from them because they're better than what they are, that they have been showing, or maybe they're just been at their own levels. I was saying this team cannot afford to drop anything. Draws at Old Trafford when you should be up 4-5-0 do not help. It's no good outplaying teams when you can't score a fucking goal. Not scoring when having 20 shots a game, missing 4, 5, 6 big chances. If that happens once every couple of months, you would win. You say, okay, bad day, but we won. But when it becomes a continuous pattern with late wins, scraping through and struggling with no wins because of the lack of goals, it's a major problem, just like it was yesterday, which was our main problem, not scoring from our chances. So was the team not actually good enough? Are the players lackluster and it's just Klopp and the football that Klopp coaches that brings out the best of them? Are we not performing to Klopp's system or due to his system? Are we tired? Is Szoboszlai gassed because he's run so much that he's never run that much in the first 3-4 months of a season in his career? Mind you, he's still only in his early 20s. He will adapt. For Hungary, he's an absolute machine. For Liverpool, different role, still plays a big part, but doesn't get the goals or assists we probably expect of him. As an example. Overachieved, maybe. Some people think we're overachieved, perhaps, with the kids that we've been playing. Klopp's system is not so good. This Liverpool team is shit. They're not the best. And yet somehow we found ourselves battling between first, second, and third multiple times this season. Interesting. Winning 1 out of 4 competitions, circumstances aside, quadruple. We want to win everything that Trent Alexander-Arnold said, as though that's a meme you can laugh at a player for wanting to be ambitious and win things. I don't understand that aspect. I really don't get how you can be angry or memeing at a player for wanting to win things. Of course, rivalry, rival fans will do that. They think it's banter. It's pretty stupid if you ask me. There are better things to banter them over. Unsustainable playing style and wins. I've already explained that. And you're going against Pep's machine again, which is why Klopp is probably a little bit fatigued. But that's Liverpool, yeah? A lot of people were saying Liverpool were 5 points ahead, 5 points ahead of Arsenal this season. Were we though? We had a 5-point lead on Arsenal in January, but City had their game in hand. So if anything, we dropped in comparison to Arsenal when they beat us to bring it back to a 2-point gap. So on the 31st of January, we were first by 5 points, 51 points, 46 to City, 46 to Arsenal. But as you can see there, Man City with a game in hand. The following week, when that game was played, it was Arsenal versus Liverpool. Arsenal beat us 3-1 and brought the lead back to only 2 points. So for Arsenal, after January, something happened. They went to Dubai. They went and saw Salt Bay. Salt Bay fed Arteta, and they turned into this attacking defensive machine. Yeah? Best attack, best defense, learning from last season, adapting, using the bench, scoring goals away from home, not getting slapped up, scoring goals at home, slapping teams up. Aston Villa said good evening twice to them this season. Again, scoring 30 plus goals, conceding less than 5 since January or something to that effect after that Salt Bay trip. Doesn't really mean anything in the real world, but they have been the best performing team in the Premier League, no doubt. Performances, that is. Results, just conceding less than 5 goals. They had conceded less shots on target than some people had, goals conceded, right? It's ridiculous stats. But defenders being the best in the league, midfielder signing of the season, Starboy Saka, all these things that have made them the team they are this season to not be seen when it mattered. A UCL run was great. Out of the group stages, get through the second round against Porto, a little bit shaky, nerves, maybe inexperience. But now you're playing against Arsenal. Now you're playing against Bayern Munich, yeah? A team that they realistically should have beaten down. But even I said, this is Bayern Munich. This is the Champions League. This is not the Premier League. It's very different in these streets here. It's not the same. The draw to City away, you could look at in 2 ways. A lot of people were contentious. I still think it was better for them to have done what they did instead of going there risking it. But again, high risk, high reward football, as Hussam says for Liverpool, and also LB says for Man City, which effectively it is. But you can adapt, you can change things. You don't have to change your whole footballing style. But like we say, instead of having defenders on the halfway line, drop them back 10 yards, 15 yards, in case there's a ball over the top where you can sort of like get get a head start on your opposition and recover the ball first before they get to it, yeah? But that City draw, you can look at it in two ways, in hindsight now. Good for Arsenal because they didn't lose to a team that they haven't beaten away from home in nearly 10 years. Or two, bad for Arsenal because they didn't go for it and win against a team that's been labelled as the worst Pep City side. Now, of course, that's what a lot of people are saying. Arguably, you can say it probably is not the strongest because they don't have as strong as a bench maybe, or some players that they start with are maybe not what you would expect from a City team. But nonetheless, they are a good team. Anyone who says otherwise, I think they're just taking the piss and trying to banter and trying to downplay it. They're still a good team, yeah? They have not lost the game in all competitions since the 6th of December or something ridiculous to that effect. Beating City and Liverpool at home, but draws and losses to Fulham, 2 losses to Villa, draws to Chelsea and Spurs with an away trip to come at White Hart Lane. Old Trafford away as well coming. The return UCL leg in a few days in Munich. Focus would have to shift towards one trophy now potentially, but could lose out on both. It's a tough pill to swallow, but like Liverpool, it's one that's highly possible. So learning from last season, they look like they had done that. Evidently, it looks like maybe there's a little bit of shades from last season creeping in. I know a lot of Arsenal fans have criticised the Arteta and the bench and players, saying they don't have the players to get the job done. They signed players, they brought players in, they've given new contracts to players, but because they haven't been up to it, he has not been using his bench. So why did you re-sign these players? Why did you give them extensions, etc., etc.? The novice manager, obviously Arteta, first main gig as a manager, was an assistant at Man City with Pep Guardiola. First gig, 4 or 5 years now, Arsenal fans. Again, still his first managerial job. And a lot of people want to make comparisons to Xabi Alonso. Congratulations to Bayer Leverkusen, won the Bundesliga for the first time in their history. They are no longer Leverkusen, they are now Bundesliga winners, stopping an 11 years straight reign. And holy shit, does that meme of Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich, who are guaranteed to win things, looking shaky right now. But of course, Harry Kane, he's now going to welcome Arsenal to the Allianz Arena in a few days' time and potentially try and knock them out because Bayern Munich have nothing to play for bar a Champions League. But again, you're going against Pep and Klopp. Now, a lot of people say this is the Pep and Klopp era. Is it really though? They are probably the two most prominent managers in the Premier League and have been for the better part of a decade. I know Ten Hag's come in a little bit there. But realistically, looking at it, over the last 8 years, it's been Pep and City. Obviously, Leicester are in there as well. Chelsea have won one as well. But predominantly, Pep and Klopp. It's tough. And this is why I say Arsenal fans are banking on a Liverpool downfall because naturally they're the team that's going to replace Liverpool, yeah, if it happens, which maybe will, hopefully not to that extreme level, but potential is there. And the fan expectation after 5 years, phases and projects and all that good stuff. Is there a time frame on when you should be winning something? That's up for debate. Like Bayer Leverkusen, a different league, but everything is relative. Xabi Alonso picked them up when they were second last in the Bundesliga last season. They're still undefeated in every competition that they're in. That is fucking mad. That's proper insane. So maybe there are no phases, and on League Gunner says, what phase are they in? Yeah, what part of the project is that? Shit's irrelevant effectively. You get the job done, you're good. If you're struggling because you've got a Pep Guardiola, because you've got a Jurgen Klopp, maybe you're just not at that level yet, or you need to be better. One of them things. Now, because I did the comparison with the points with Liverpool, we also have to mention Arsenal as well, because last year they were deemed as bottle jobs, and probably last year you can argue that there is more of a case of them being bottle jobs last year than this year, right? Compared to last season when Arsenal were 8 points ahead, albeit with 2 games in hand for City, which they then went on to win, Arsenal drew their match, which brought it back to 3 points, and further draws and losses to Arsenal, while City kept winning to win the league and their treble. So you can see there, 29 played, 28 played for City, 72 to 64. By the time everything was done and dusted, Arsenal had played their 30th game, only gained a point. City played their 2 games, gained 6. And that's what happens. That's what happens. So now City have just cruised, got the job done, even when their fans were crying about their bench and how it's poor, using teenagers, not having their best player available, not having their game changers anymore. But as soon as they see top spot, as soon as they draw away to Real Madrid, with players missing as well, they perked up and said, hey, yo, we're going to do this again. Look how good this squad is and the players we have. Like they didn't cry in December and January when they had a speed hump and both Liverpool and Arsenal didn't take advantage, as I said earlier on. They will likely make this league a farmers league and win it 4 times in a row, and then the ultimate next year for Pep would be to make it 5 in a row and then potentially leave City, sail in the sunset with a dynasty in the Premier League, an ultimate legacy, a potential back-to-back treble. Potential 5 continuous Premier Leagues in a row. They look like they're going to win it this year. Make no doubt about it. If we both had an 8 points gap clean and we lost or drew games and City won and overtook us, that would be a bottling. This, however, is not for me. But if people want to use that narrative, then sure, go on. That's pretty much my version of events. I know it's a little bit lengthy, but that's how I see it. This has been very tight to the very end. A Liverpool team that was not expected to be anywhere near the top, and not even in the top 4, pushing City and Arsenal along the way. Arsenal, who was said that they were not going to compete again, but have proven us wrong and playing some fantastic football over the last 3 months. A Man City team who just do not know the meaning of the word die and just keep on going and going and going. Pep Guardiola versus Arteta versus Klopp. It's a shame Klopp's leaving, because if this is something that we could have seen potentially for another season or 2, it would have been box office. We would have really seen which manager can get the job done, which new players can integrate with other manager systems and gel and work and perform to their utmost, peak of their potential. We won't see that now. Klopp leaving, Arteta maybe in a rocky situation, Pep looking to sign on for another year or 2. I hate to say it, but it does look like this could potentially be a farmers league, quote unquote, should Pep win this season. And if he goes on to win next season, what hope do the rest of us have while Pep Guardiola is here, right? Anyways, you can let me know your thoughts down below. I know, lengthy video. Hopefully you found it informative. By all means, leave your comments and thoughts. Let's get a conversation going. Peace out.